giving up on society, on my family, on your social disease. I'm giving up on the industry, on democracy, done with all your hypocrisy. All of the chaos and all of the lies, I hate it. I'm wasting here, can anyone wash it all away? I'm waiting here for anyone to wash it all away. Wash it all away. I'm giving up on the media feeds, my hysteria, sick of living down on my knees. I'm giving up on morality feeds, my brutality. Fuck what you think about me. All of the chaos and all of the lies, I hate it. I'm wasting here, can anyone wash it all away? I'm waiting here for anyone to wash it all away. Wash it all away. I won't change for you, and I can't take the pain. There's nothing you can do, and there's nothing you can say. I'm giving up on everything, upon everything. I'm wasting here, can anyone wash it all away? I'm waiting here for anyone to wash it all away. Wash it all away. I'm wasting here with everyone. Just wash it all away. I'm waiting here for anyone to wash it all away. Wash it all away. Wash it all away.
Man, top of the morning, everybody, man. Much love, man. Jordan, I see you, brother. Denver made Timmy, man. What's happening, bro? Um, Cheeks, I see you, brother. Much love, man. Who else we got in here? I think that was it. So listen, I'm gonna start off real quick by saying just a few things I need to say. And first and foremost, I want to make a public apology to Jen. And I'm not going to get into a lot of details here because that's being done on the back end, if you want to say that. Hillbilly, I see you, brother. But Jen, if you see this, I've already messaged you and we're going to talk later. But I just want to express my sincere apologies for making that live and saying what I said. Something was brought to my attention, and obviously it was a lie. And I'm just going to leave it there. And that's what made me make that live. And I just want to express my sincere apologies to you because we have always been close. And despite the disagreements and what's going on right now, I have never lied to you. I've always been honest to you. I just sent Jen some more money via Cash App also, just so you guys know. And she will be paid off in full. And I have nothing but love for her and Riker. And I always have. I always have. And this all has become very, very disgusting and disturbing. Um, and it's just sad. And I apologize for any of my part in it. And I'm going to say one more thing. The woman that went up on that individual's panel lied through her teeth. Those text messages from her and I that we shared over 2.5, 3 years have all been forwarded to a certain somebody. I'm not going to say who, but it's somebody in this community that is neutral and that many of us know. That individual is going to go through all those text messages and see that I fought and fought trying to get her out here. And I'm not going to put her personal business out there. I'm not going to get into all that. But I'm just going to say she continuously expressed to me that she was in a bad situation where she was at. And I continuously begged her to get out here because her health was declining. And this is before she had cancer. I just learned about the cancer just yesterday, day before. So, there was a lot of issues going on, and she was supposed to move several times and then changed up. And there's text messages of me telling her I'll fly out there and I'll get a moving truck and I'll load your stuff up and I'll have a talk with your son and all that. So the lies are insane and they will be exposed. That's all I'm going to say. So there's always two sides to every story. Believe that. There's always two sides to every story. And before anybody rushes to making judgments and believing one side based off of what happened and transpired through all this, believe me, there's going to be egg on people's faces. That's all I'm going to say. Um, and I pray for her and her well-being. And I looked at that woman as a mom figure. And that's all in the text, man, from both of us. So there was a lot of lies spewed on that panel, and they will be brought forth. And there's people like Cheek, Dusty, Keeks. There's a lot of people that have been around from the very beginning of all this, and there's people that know exactly what transpired. And she lied through her teeth. I don't mean no disrespect. She's sick, all that, but she lied. And that's all I'm going to say. So that's it. That's all I'm going to say from this point forward on any of this, Jen. I sincerely from the heart apologize to you, and I love you and Riker, and that's all I'm going to say. I sent you some money today. We'll send you some more, and we'll get that squared away, and that's it. And hopefully you can come to find it in your heart to forgive me and understand what happened here. I also want to make this abundantly clear. I've never told anybody they can't talk to somebody. Okay. You have to be able to draw boundaries in your life. Okay. And when you see people talking crap about your child and your wife in chats, and you see people that you care about, and I'm not even talking about Jen at this point. I'm just saying in general. You see people that you talk to off of YouTube and you consider to be close to you, and then you see them in chats, you know, chummy with people that are talking about your wife and your child openly. And yeah, I reached out to Jen and I told her, look, I don't know if you know this or not, but the chats you're in, those people are steadily talking about Leslie and cracking jokes about Leslie and my child. And I just, if that's the case, then I would appreciate it if you stayed away from me. That's what I said. And listen, you got to be able to draw those boundaries in life, period. And if there's something that you see from somebody that you care about or you love, the bottom line is if it's causing you discomfort, you have to speak on that. You have to. That's what friends do. And just know that if I was in a chat with anybody that was talking about somebody I cared about's child or anything of that nature, I'm out of there. I'm going to speak my mind, tell them fuck off, and I'm out of there. Like I'm not doing that. So I'm just saying that I've never told anybody you can't talk to somebody. But I have said, if that's your choice and that's what you want to do, then please leave me alone. Period. You know, and I don't even have to be close to somebody. There's people. If I saw that kind of stuff, and just somebody that's a subscriber that comes in and is chill and vibes with me. If I saw somebody doing that about their kids or saying something like that, I would definitely check them and bounce. Like, I have nothing more to say at that point. You're talking about somebody I like and care about. It's people. Like, I ain't got nothing to say to you. So I think there was a misunderstanding there. Nobody ever told anybody they couldn't talk to somebody. I just put my position out there. Look, if that's what you choose to do, that's fine, but I would rather not talk anymore. I mean, that's honesty. And I have every right to do that just as anybody else does. And that's not telling somebody what they have to do. That's telling somebody your position and where you stand. I'm just saying there's a big difference there. But again, that's beside the point. I apologize, Jen. And we sent you something this morning, and we will do so again. And I would love to talk to you off of here because you're being lied to now. You're being lied to. And this person that I sent these text threads to, and all of them from the very beginning. And I also want to say this. I want to make this abundantly clear. I'm not going to sit here and slander this person, but I also want you to know this. That woman that came up on the panel, we were friends before and had a falling out. And the reason why we had a falling out is because I learned that she was trying to get information on me for another individual, another YouTuber. And a mutual friend of ours reached out to me and said, hey, she wants to apologize for what she did. And I went ahead and accepted that apology of somebody trying to get information on me to provide it to somebody else. That's what the woman did, and apologized to me, and I accepted it. I accepted her apology and allowed her back into my life after she admitted that she was trying to get information on me for somebody else. And that's just facts. Everybody that was around in the Discord, everything knows exactly what happened. So, look, I want nothing but the best for that woman. I have no hate or ill will in my heart towards that woman. But at the same time, like, you can't just get up there and lie like that when you know it's not true. What you're saying is not true. And there's a lot more to the story that you are not putting in there. So we're gonna put the facts out there. Like I said, I'm not gonna say who has them, but somebody has them, and they're reading them, and they will hopefully give their honest opinion. And hopefully that will let everybody know the truth. I can't drop the text because they're just so personal. Like, you know what I mean? I would love to just drop the whole thread so everybody can see what was said and all the times that I fought to try and get her out here because of her health and everything, right? But I'm not going to do that. It's just too personal. There's too much personal stuff in there, and I'm not going to do that. So, the best thing I could do is send it to a mutual neutral party and have them look at it and give their honest opinion. And that's what I told the individual. I want you to give your honest opinion. I don't want you to sugarcoat it. I want you to say exactly what you read and what you felt, and in response to what she had to say on the panel. That's all I want. And so hopefully that person has my back and will do that, because this is pretty bad, man. This was fucked up, and the fact that it went so low so quick is insane. But I'm gonna leave it there, guys. That's it. That's all I got to say. Again, Jen, I apologize, and I hope that after time we can become friends again and talk and get past this. And I would like to talk to you today, and I did send you something via Cash App, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there. One last thing. People that have been around for a long time, Weevy's Live and everything else, like long time, know what transpired and has known what transpired, and like it's just I don't know. I just I hope people can understand that there's two sides to every story. And I'm not talking about Jen at this point. Um, so that's enough said. I've said everything I have to say. I don't have to prove myself to no one. The only reason why I'm sending these texts to this individual is because there was some nasty stuff said on that panel. And that was false, straight lies. Some was true, some was true, but there was a lot of lies and a lot of dishonesty and a lot of stuff that was done on that person's part that was left out. And that's how it always is, you know? So I'll just leave it at that. So I wanted to go ahead and go over something, man. I'm gonna bring it up, and I thought maybe we could watch it together if you guys want. I'm off today. Um, I worked all last weekend, so I'm off this weekend. And yeah, get in the chat real quick and say what's up to my beautiful wife, Leslie Dangerous, in the house. Who else we got in here, man? What's up, sis? What are you doing? Please don't forget to leave a comment after each and always supporting. I love you, sis. Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I'm not even gonna get into that, but I don't know about that. We don't talk politics on here anymore, but I don't know about all that. Not anymore. Miss Thang, what's going on, sis? Good to see you. My brother Cheek. See you, brother. Yeah, Hillbilly, what's going on, man? I hope you and the family are doing well, brother. Yeah, it's all right, honey. You don't even worry about it. Just don't even trip. Jordan, what's going on? Timmy in the house, man. Yeah, Timmy, I'm gonna do some fishing this afternoon myself, brother. I think I'm gonna go do some fishing myself, brother. You kind of you locked it in, man. I was already thinking about doing it, but you know, I now it's locked in. So I'm definitely going fishing today. It sounds like a good time. Sounds like something that will definitely bring some positive energy into one's mind and heart. So let's go ahead and check this out, guys. What is Stoicism? Let's go ahead and check it out.
Out of all the ancient Hellenistic schools of philosophy, the most famous today is undoubtedly the Stoics or Stoicism. There are incredibly successful YouTube channels and podcasts dedicated to Stoicism. A lot of you may have read the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. There are
Get your money, hillbilly. Much love, brother.
books, conferences, and people who use Stoicism as a way to perform better at their corporate job. Indeed, the exposure that many people will have had when it comes to the Stoics is a version that is, let's say, a bit shallow, where certain aspects of Stoic thought is used to, for instance, optimize productivity or gain wealth or worldly success. It's a movement that has today been dubbed Broicism. The word stoic, as in a person being stoic, is often used today to describe someone that is emotionally distant, right? That doesn't have any emotions, doesn't feel anything, is simply driven by their rational thinking and not by their emotions. And, frankly, a lot of the depictions of Stoicism or understandings of Stoicism that many people have today would probably make some of the actual ancient Stoics turn in their graves. But this is only a part of the story. So what is the full story? What is Stoicism? Where does it come from? And what are some of its philosophical and maybe religious teachings?
Hey, can you do me a favor? I don't know who this N4 is, but can you please not use those slanderous words in my chat? Thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and have to block you. Yeah, please don't use those slanderous, disgusting words in my chat, please. Yeah, we accept all people here. Yeah.
Stoicism is a school of philosophy that developed in ancient Greece during the so-called Hellenistic Age. Indeed, Stoicism was probably the most widespread and popular school of philosophy in the Hellenic world right up until the rise of Neoplatonism in the 3rd and 4th centuries, but would of course continue to have an influence even to this very day. It was founded in Athens, that most central of ancient cities for philosophy. Its very name, Stoicism, comes from the Greek term stoa poikile, which means painted porch, and refers to a literal porch that stood right next to the agora or marketplace in Athens. It was here, in the middle of the bustling city life, that the first Stoics would gather to purposely engage with the public. The founder of Stoicism is often said to be Zeno of Citium, a figure originally from Cyprus who is said to have studied philosophy under the famous Cynic philosopher Crates, and there are indeed some significant similarities between Stoicism and the Cynics. But Zeno is also said to have studied with other philosophers, and the school that he started was unique and original in very important ways. While Zeno is considered the founder, the fundamental features of the philosophy of course developed over time with his successors. He was first succeeded by a guy called Cleanthes, and then by the figure Chrysippus, who is one of the most significant figures for the formation of classic Stoic doctrines and is often considered the greatest of all the Stoics in history. Chrysippus lived in Athens just like the other Stoic leaders. Unlike some other traditions that we have discussed, the
I'll tell you what, Athens, Greece is beautiful, man. Athens, Greece is beautiful. I've never been there, but I've seen aerial, like, helicopter flyovers that they do and stuff. And I've seen videos and stuff and tour, like YouTube tour videos and stuff. It is beautiful. And I would love to one day for me and Leslie to make it out there on a trip. Beautiful.
Stoa was actually a literal school in the sense of a connected group of people with a leader, and Chrysippus was one such significant head of this school. He is said to have written an insane amount of works, over 700 books, in which he presented his interpretations of Zeno's ideas and the basics of Stoicism. It gives me no pleasure to tell you that not a single of these works have survived. We do know of Chrysippus' ideas and significance, though, through references and quotes in other works, and can thus get an idea of his thought. The importance of this guy for Stoicism cannot be overstated. He made significant innovations in all kinds of philosophical fields, perhaps above all in logic, and we will have time to get into some of these ideas soon. Now, Stoicism is one of the so-called Hellenistic schools of philosophy, alongside other major groups like the Skeptics of the Platonic Academy and the Epicureans, as well as, of course, the Cynics, Peripatetics, and others. And they would frequently engage in polemic and debate with these other schools, especially the Skeptics, who were their kind of arch-enemies. And in order to understand Stoicism, it's helpful to get a grasp of this larger philosophical environment. Indeed, one thing that unified all of these schools was their reverence for the figure of Socrates. The Stoics, the Skeptics, the Cynics, the Epicureans, they all claimed to represent the ideas of Socrates, at least in some sense. The problem was, they all interpreted what those ideas were differently. We know of Socrates and his activities mainly from the discourses of Plato, and those who followed Plato and his academy, the academics, of course looked to Socrates as a fundamental role model. And while the earliest academy was concerned with trying to figure out what the actual doctrines of Plato were, very shortly thereafter there was a major shift in focus. Instead, the academics seemed to glean from the dialogues the main theme of skepticism. Socrates, or Plato, wasn't representing an actual doctrine or doctrines to be elucidated, but rather challenging anyone's claim to absolute knowledge. Thus, the Platonic Academy became the school known as the Skeptics, whose main philosophical characteristic is pretty much right in the name. They believe that we can't reach certainty or true knowledge about anything at all in the world. Although there can be different levels of plausibility, at least in some schools or branches of skepticism. This is of course a very short and generalizing presentation, but that's the gist of this school. The Epicureans, a school founded by the figure Epicurus, was hedonistic in nature. They believed that what should be sought in life was pleasure, albeit in moderation. Indeed, another one of the features that all these philosophies touch on or deal with is a kind of goal in life, something called ataraxia, which means something like absence of disturbance or trouble. perhaps loosely translatable to something like contentment. Sometimes it's translated as happiness, but that doesn't quite do it justice. So how does one achieve this state of ataraxia? And connected to this, what is the
Hey, I also want to say something real quick. I want to say a thank you to the many, many people that have reached out to me in the last few days. Um, I'm not going to say names because that's not what's important. What's important is the reaching out and what was said. Um, so many people reached out to me and expressed um how a lot of the things that I've said and done on here have helped them. And I've had people tell me this in the past too, and it's hard for I don't even know how to accept that when somebody says something like that to me, but because I'm just speaking, I'm just talking, you know what I mean? I'm just who I am. This is who I am in real life. I mean, what you see here is what you would see if you're hanging out with me. So I don't I guess I don't see how like my stories and what I say can help somebody sometimes, but I guess it does. And a particular person reached out to me yesterday. And if you're watching, I just want to tell you I love you, brother. And what you said really, really just it touched my heart, man. And man, um to have somebody tell you that you've affected their life and in times when they were going through things and struggling, and they would tap into the live and not only be listening to what I'm saying and that helped them, but also you guys in the chat. Also you guys in the chat, I don't think people realize like how much sometimes these lives help people. A lot of times people turn in and tap into things because they're experiencing things in life. They're trying to get their mind off of things. But this man told me that I've touched his life in so many ways on so many different occasions. And this man is somebody that's been through a lot himself and, you know, just a good man. Couple years younger than me, but around the same age. And this man told me that he would talk to his daughter about some of the things that I would talk about on the channel and just express to her about me and about how I helped him focus or I got his mind off something and to find out that his daughter was 17 when he first started talking about me to her and she's 20 now and she knows who I am. And when Anthony was murdered, she actually went and gave him $100 to send to me when she found out because he told her. And hearing that just it made me realize why I'll never delete this channel and why I haven't yet and why I never will. And that's just facts. This is more than me and more than you and more than any of us. And if utilized in the right way, can be life-changing to people and to the creator, to the person that's on the panel, to the person speaking, if utilized in the right way. So that right there, that's solidified me never deleting this channel ever. Ever. And I will not be ran off of YouTube. That's just a fact. So to all those that reached out to me, to the people that didn't believe everything and reached out to me for another side of the story instead of just believing what they were being told without any proof. Thank you. That's what you should do. That's what somebody should do. And I thank you for that. And to those that reached out to me, all of you, thank you. And to that special one, man, you know who I'm talking about, man. Thank you, brother. Like that conversation touched my heart in a way that I can't even express.
Nature of a good life. What is it that is good at all? Good being defined here as something that is desirable for its own sake. For the Epicureans, the answer was pretty simple. The highest good in life is pleasure.
Hey, Jordan, I already have a bunch of them in there, but I'll go ahead and add some more. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, but I know what they're doing. We all know the games. They'll come in and make comments like that and then try to report you. And it's like, don't use words like that in my chat, please. Please. Don't come in here and use words like that. You know, don't come in here and violate the TOS terms in my chat, please.
Pleasure is the only thing that is valuable in this world. Since they were materialists, this seemed a pretty obvious conclusion. But it isn't hedonism in the more crude sense. The ideas of Epicurus are actually a lot more nuanced than that. He suggests a kind of ascetic lifestyle as the best option, where true pleasure is the ataraxia, or contentment, that comes with a moderate lifestyle and the pleasures that result from it. The academic skeptics had a different idea. To them, no certain knowledge was available to humans, so we are to suspend judgment of anything we know, realize that we know nothing for certain, and it is only in this state of mind that ataraxia is reached. For Aristotle and the Peripatetics, the highest good in life is eudaimonia, something more close to well-being or living well in general. So what's the position of the Stoics on this matter? They did not believe that the highest human good was well-being or happiness or health or pleasure or any of these things. Indeed, to the Stoics, all these things were indifferent, without any intrinsic value. The only thing that is truly valuable, the only good in this world, is virtue. Nothing else can bring a person to contentment or quote-unquote happiness, not wealth or physical health or not power or pleasure, only virtue. But what does this mean? How is a Stoic to actually live his or her life? We're given a seemingly clear-cut answer by the second scholar or leader of the Stoics, Cleanthes, when he says that the goal of life, the telos, is, quote, living in agreement with nature. To live a life in accordance with nature is a recurring theme in all of Stoic ethics. But you might ask, what does this actually mean then? We'll return to Stoic ethics soon, but it might do as well to get a sort of overview of the philosophy in general.
So I want to read to you guys something that is called the 9 Noble Virtues. And that comes from Asatru and Odinism. And I've noticed some similarities in Stoicism and Asatru as far as like their virtues and what they stand on. So here's the 9 noble virtues of Asatru: courage, truth, honor, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, self-reliance, industriousness, perseverance. So like you can see like there's a lot of things that cross with Stoicism and Asatru as far as like what they stand on and the type of things that they believe in as far as values and things that you should carry within yourself.
First. So in Stoicism, philosophy is often divided into 3 main categories or parts: logic, physics, and ethics. It is the ethical teachings of Stoicism that have become particularly famous today, but the other parts are also equally important to understand in order to get a sort of full picture of this school. To many, logic is the basis from which all philosophy must start. It's a sort of jumping off point for all other aspects of philosophy, right? Today, logic might seem to many people like an obvious thing. Things are logical because they're logical, right? But in philosophy, logic is actually a kind of science. It's a way of studying, examining the nature of truth and how we can know what is true. Logic was very important to the Stoics, in some ways as a kind of prerequisite for the other two categories. In one comparison, philosophy is seen as an egg. The shell is logic, the egg white is physics, and the egg yolk is ethics. This hierarchy can vary. For example, Chrysippus seems to rather follow the structure, logic as a shell, ethics as white, and physics as the yolk. But logic is always the sort of first or outer, the shell in this analogy, right? Now, I am not a logician, so if I actually attempted to do a deep dive into Stoic logic, it would probably turn out not so great. What I can do is briefly mention that Stoic logic is a very significant thing in the history of philosophy. The Stoics developed logic in a way that would become very influential, and in particular Chrysippus is strongly associated and seen as the sort of originator of a lot of Stoic logic. Chrysippus, in fact, is sometimes viewed as one of the greatest logicians in all of history.
So I'm gonna have to do some research on how do you say it? Cyprus?
And seen as the sort of originator of a lot of Stoic logic. Chrysippus, in fact, is sometimes viewed as one of the greatest.
So I'm gonna have to do some research on Chrysippus. I'm gonna have to look him up and do a little research on exactly who he was, and yeah, definitely.
Logicians in all of history. He was truly a genius in many, many ways, and this was one of them. Throughout history, however, the logic of Aristotle has been the most famous and widely used, at least up until the modern period. And the logic of Aristotle and that of the Stoics are different in some fundamental ways. As a very brief summary, Aristotle's logic is a categorical one based on syllogisms. A classic syllogism will be something like, all A equal B, and all B equals C. That must mean that all A also equals C. Or, to replace the letters with actual words, Socrates is a man, all men are mortal. That must mean that Socrates is mortal. Stoic logic is instead based on propositions and their relationship. For instance, a classic Stoic proposition, if it is day, there is light, but it is day, therefore it is light. Chrysippus was, again, a very important figure in this regard. What is it about these propositions that make them true? Some philosophers would argue that a proposition is true as long as the second part isn't, as a matter of fact, false, while the first one is true. So, for example, if I said, if it is day, then I am great at explaining logic. That would be considered true by some philosophers, including Philo of Megara. Because none of those two statements are necessarily false, although you could of course argue about the second part. Chrysippus didn't agree, however. He basically held the idea that a proposition can only be true if the opposite of the consequence, that is the second part, would falsify the first part. You could say, if it is day, then I am bad at explaining logic, and that wouldn't change anything. Whether I am good or bad at explaining logic has no bearing on whether it is day. But if we take a proposition that would be considered true according to Chrysippus, such as the already mentioned.
Okay. No, I'm gonna end it, babe. I'm gonna end it. I don't want it to be a long live, anyways, because I want people to hear what I had to say at the beginning. So I'll end it. But listen, guys. We may be going live tonight. I'm not sure yet. I'll definitely let you guys know. You might actually be surprised if we do go live. I'll just say that. I'll just leave it at that. But we may go live again tonight, and definitely we'll have a topic of importance, something good to talk about, something to discuss, something positive, something that brings forth knowledge and light, and but I think you guys might be just surprised if we do go live tonight. But I'm not promising anything, but I'm just saying if we do go, you might be quite surprised. So I'm looking forward to it if it does happen, but we'll see. But anyways, other than that, man, the link to this video is in the description below, so you can continue to watch it if you want. But it's all love, guys, man. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off of here. I hope you guys have a blessed Saturday. I'm gonna go take care of my business with my wife. And until next time, man, and be safe. Stay frosty out there, guys. We're living in some really, really crazy times. Much love.